Good evening. I apologize for running a few minutes late. Good evening. All right, family, we're going to talk about divorce tonight. And it was a gentleman that came into my DMs. There's been a lot of gentlemen coming to my DMs, if you want me to be honest, talking about all things divorce and bad marriages. That's pretty much what men like to talk about when they come into my DM is their unhappy marriages and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, hello, good evening. Come on in. We're going to talk a little bit about divorce tonight. Okay, here we go. All right. Yeah, we got to talk a little bit about divorce tonight because two reasons we're going to talk a little bit about divorce tonight. Number one, the question I get asked the most in my DM, whether I'm on a podcast, whether I'm on a live, I get asked this question a lot, is about my divorce. So I get asked that question a lot, or people saying, "Are you married?" So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but we're going to talk about divorce in general because there are some things that are going around. There's some rhetoric that's going around that I want to bring you some statistical data. I want to bring you some facts about divorce. And if you have been through a divorce, okay, so if you've been through a divorce, and you're willing to share your experience or your story, I'd love to hear it. We're going to get to that. But here's what you have to know about divorce as a whole, right? And when it comes to data, when it comes to statistics. So your divorce story is not everyone else's divorce story. And a lot of people who've been through a divorce, and specifically men, I don't know why it is so difficult, because I tend to think that men are logical and rational. And yet, when it comes to this conversation about divorce, they are not. This is the one area that they really struggle on being logical and rational. And what they do is they get caught in this vacuum that, okay, however my divorce was, that's how all divorces are. I woke up one day, everything was going great, and my wife left me. My wife asked for a divorce. My wife cheated on me. My wife left and took the kids. Okay, that is your story, and I want to show empathy and compassion for your story, but I also need you to understand that's not everyone's story. I know that's what happened to you, but that's not what happens to everyone. And this idea that this statistic going around that says 70 to 80% of divorces are initiated by women. So based on the two latest reels, the two latest videos that I posted, we know that just because someone initiates a divorce doesn't mean that they're the reason why the marriage didn't make it. Okay? That doesn't prove fault in the divorce. That just says that person went down to the courthouse and filed for divorce, went down to the courthouse and filed for separation. That doesn't mean it's their fault. And honestly, I mean, there's a chance that both of them could have said, yeah, I'm not happy in this marriage. I don't want this marriage anymore. It just so happened that one of them had to take the initiative and file for the divorce. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about why that is. And what I want you to do tonight is put on your listening ears. I want you to, more than anything, put on your critical thinking cap. Okay? You have to be willing to think critically if you want to have healthy dialogue and conversation about topics like this. And there are some people out there who can't. They have a divorce story, and in their head, that is every divorce story. That is what happens. You wake up one day and your wife just leaves you and there's nothing you can do about it. I disagree. I think that you can actually divorce-proof your marriage. But see, people don't want to hear that, especially people who are stuck in victimhood. You don't want to hear the reality that there might have been things you could have said or done that could have divorce-proof your marriage. But a lot of people don't want to take that sort of sovereignty over their life. They don't want to take that sort of radical responsibility over their life. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. All right. Don't give them that much leverage. I'd be curious to know what that's about, but okay, we'll get into this discussion. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about divorce statistics. In 2021, a total of 689,308 divorces occurred across the 45 U.S. states that report this statistic. During that same year, 1.985 million marriages occurred, making the U.S. marriage rate 6 per 1,000 people. So far more people are getting married over the course of the year than get divorced. Interesting, because people are saying, oh, people are not getting married. No, people are still getting married. I see premarital couples in my practice all the time. And I had 5 couples just this summer get married. So that's good news. People are still getting married. All right. And then we hear about the dreaded 50%, 51% of all marriages will end in divorce. Okay. The average length of a marriage prior to divorce is 8 years. And it can cost up to $29,000. Now, this is just for average people. We're not talking about super rich people. We're talking about average people. Okay? So divorce is expensive. All right? One of the reasons why our culture, to some extent, is very pro-divorce is because divorce is profitable. Divorce is incredibly profitable. It's an incredibly profitable thing to do in our society. So that's a main reason why a lot of people will try to push you towards divorce. And you all are familiar with Samantha Lee and her being on Hardly Initiated and her talking about, people kind of pushing her in that direction. Yeah, because that attorney, he had everything to gain. Like, let's be honest, that attorney had everything to gain by encouraging her to get a divorce. And that's the last person, you want to call or ask, should I leave my husband? Should I get a divorce? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you ask a divorce attorney? It is incredibly profitable for him. Okay, we had someone say profitable mostly for lawyers and wives. I'm actually about to speak to that. It's not as profitable for wives as you think, but I'm about to get there. The bigger age gap, the bigger percentage for divorce. Okay, I don't have any statistics that prove that, but okay. All right. It says a total of 64% of men who get divorced will marry again. So can I be honest with you, gentlemen? Those of you gentlemen out there who keep telling other men don't get married or don't get remarried. Statistically speaking, men get remarried more than women. It says 52% of women will get married again after their divorce. But yes, men do tend to rush out and get married again. It is men who need marriage more than women. And you can fight me on that in the comments. If she cheats, she's got to go. Okay. Okay. All right. But trends in divorce have changed over time. We have seen the divorce rate decrease from 4.0 to 2.5. That's since 2000. Marriage and divorce rates have declined. Okay. In 2000, a total of 944,000 divorces and annulments occurred. All right. Marriage rate has declined too, dropping from 8.2 per population in 2000 to 6.0 in 2021. Okay. The more marriages you have, the more likely you are to get divorced. So if first marriages, anywhere between 30 and 50%. Second marriages go up to about 63%. Third marriages go up to about 75%. And can I be honest with you all? I'm going to share what I believe the more marriages you have, the more likely you are to divorce. Let's keep it real. People who marry and divorce and marry again and divorce and marry again and divorce. A lot of these people do not sit still. They do not sit down long enough to figure out what was the problem. What was the issue? How do I avoid that issue? And a lot of these people, they don't even sit with themselves. Like they jump into relationships in and out, in and out, in and out. They jump in and out of relationships. And so a lot of reason why people who remarry over and over, they're not learning anything. They're not applying anything or learning anything. They're just jumping in and out of marriages. And I'm going to say this, some people are not going to like it, but it is what I believe is true. And this is for my ladies, and I'll say it for the gentlemen too, but right now I'm talking to the ladies. Ladies, you all have got to get wise. You've got to be smarter. If you meet a man, and I don't care how charming he is, I don't care how handsome he is, I don't care how much money he has. If you meet a man and he's been married more than twice, that should be cause for you. I wouldn't even say it's a yellow flag. I would say, go on to someone else. Let's put it this way. If he's been married 3 times and divorced, that is a total red flag. You should not be engaging with that man. You should definitely not be marrying that man, because 3 times, as they say, 3 strikes and you're out. Okay, there we go. Not sure why we're having trouble with the connection. But if you can't see that person is the problem, like they're the problem, they're the common denominator in all of their marriages. And what I want to see women stop doing is having this like nurturing, loving spirit. Oh, they just didn't understand him. Oh, he just, he got cheated on 3 times. Okay, then it's him. Like it's something he's doing or not doing. And can I say this, even with the cheating, like he's not leading, he's not masculine. There's something he's doing or not doing. You're not going to sit here and tell me you've been married 3 times, all 3 of your wives cheated, and it had nothing to do with you? Like, come on now. Let's not do that. So we got to start leaving these multiply married men alone. Like, leave them alone, because you're asking for trouble. You have to, and I'm actually going to do a different live about this. You have to interrogate your person and find out about their past, because that could become your future. You have to be willing to do that. And we got to get off of this crap about, oh, we shouldn't judge. Yes, you should. The person that you're going to possibly spend the rest of your life with or move in with or have a long term, you should judge them. You should be a very good judge of their character. You should judge their character. Okay? God loves everybody. Jesus loves you exactly as you are. I ain't him. We got to start judging a person and their character. All right? That's called wisdom. That's not trying to say you're above anybody, but you're using wisdom. If you're going to be married to this person or live with this person, you have to use wisdom and discernment. So ladies, y'all have got to stop with the guy's been married twice, 3 times, 4 times. And y'all what do you think's going to happen? That guy, chances are, whoever he was in those 3 marriages, that's who he going to be with you. And then here we go again. So leave some of these guys alone. If they've been married multiple times, leave them alone. Unless they can, you'd have to really put them through their paces for you to try to give that man a shot. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Fellas, if you're coming across a woman and that woman's been married 2, 3, 4 times, you might need to leave her alone. That's a great big red flag. But I digress, okay? All right, let me just see. My grandfather got divorced to his first wife and married my grandmother. They've been together for 45 years. Good. Okay. Yeah, some people are very anti-marriage. Okay, I get it. Yeah. Same with men. Don't get women with multiple marriage. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would tell my son that if my son brought home a woman, who had been married 3 times, I'd be like, not her. Definitely not her. I tell my sons and my daughter the same thing. My daughters and my sons the same thing. They get the same thing. Okay? Leave these people alone that are basically leaving a trail of broken hearts. You just leave them alone. And I want you to consider this. Divorce is a trauma. Like, you need to understand how traumatic divorce is. If a person has been through 3 divorces, they're darn near ruined. They have been through 3 wars. It's like going through 3 wars: World War I, World War II, and World War III. And what do you think you're gonna get? What do you gonna think you're gonna get from that person? Okay, they've been through 3 major traumas, and here they come, trying to talk to you. No, leave them be. Leave them where they stand. Okay, she said, I am wife number 3 and we are divorcing now. Court date December 12th. He has already introduced his kids to his new woman. Yeah, that man's toxic. And trust me, she ain't getting no prize. You shouldn't feel bad at all. You should feel like, whoo, okay. She ain't getting no prize. It ain't gonna go no different. But we have to stop that. We have to stop, that nurturing side of ourselves. He's got potential. We need to, that's got to die. As I've stated many times before, the only thing that should receive your potential is your children. That's it. Your children have potential. When they come out of your body and as they grow into young adults, that's what you should be saying. This child has potential. I'm going to pour into this child and invest into this child because this child has potential. That's your potential. But to say that for a grown A man, no, absolutely not. So, nope. Yeah, good. She said, my healing has started. Good to hear. Yeah, but that man could have got married twice early on, but truly did the inside work and gave his life to Christ and changed his whole perspective around. I see no problem. Hey, you don't have to take this advice. Like I said, keep doing you. Keep doing you. Okay, I'm only sharing wisdom that I've learned in my 55 years. You want to take that chance? Hey, keep doing you. But I'm sitting here telling you as somebody who has seen a whole lot of situations. And like I said, you have got to use wisdom and discernment. It's unlikely that person, it's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's unlikely that person has become a whole new person and he's going to show up different with you than he did in the other 2 marriages. That's highly unlikely. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely. And you are taking a chance. You need to interrogate a person and their past because that's going to be your future. That's called wisdom. That's called using discernment. A lot of you all are skipping that. You're giving too much potential, too much credit, when you should say, I think I'm gonna pass on this. I think I'm gonna find someone. Maybe they have a divorce under their belt. Maybe they've learned a lot from that divorce. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it really depends on the work they've done. Have they stayed out of relationships? Are they bouncing from woman to woman to woman? Are they rebounding? It really depends. People out here today, they don't reflect. They don't abstain. They don't take time away to really do the work. They don't reflect. And I'm just telling you, what them last wives got, that's what you gonna get. How much time should you wait to start dating after a divorce? A year? A year? And how about this? Even the court system knows. So if you don't have any minor children, it says 6 months. So I would say maybe 6 months. If you have minor children, it says a year. And what you look like having minor children with your spouse and you're separated and you're out here dating. No, you need to be legally divorced. You need to wait a year. Don't date anybody. Sit down somewhere, talk to somebody, sit on somebody's couch and process everything that's happened. You need to wait at least a year. Anything inside of that is you rebounding. And all that's going to do is, sure, it's going to distract you. It's going to, give you something to do and take your mind off of the pain. But when that doesn't work, because it won't, 90% of rebounds end. 90 to 95% of rebounds end. then guess what? You have the pain from the rebound and you have the pain from the divorce. So no, sit down and process your pain. Okay? Process your pain. I know it's not a divorce, but what about someone who broke off an engagement? Red flag. Broke off an engagement. No, I wouldn't say that's a red flag. That's a yellow flag. I would ask questions, and I would definitely want to know why and what happened and how long they were with that person. I think it's a yellow flag. It's not a red flag, but it's definitely worth asking more questions. And so, yeah, I'd want to know what happened. Why didn't that go through? Why didn't you all get married? I would ask a lot of questions. But there's a part of me that's actually kind of thinks, oh, that might be wisdom on their part. That they kind of knew prior to getting married, like, I don't know if this is a great idea. I don't know if this is my person. I don't know if this is going to work out. But yes, that's a yellow flag. I would just ask questions. Okay, so back to our statistics. Okay, I found this to be very interesting. 6% of divorced couples remarry each other. I have a client right now who is divorced from her husband and married her affair partner. That didn't work out. Now she wants to be back with her husband, and her husband is open to reconciling. So you just never know how this thing is going to go. Divorcees are more likely to die earlier than people who are married. Okay? Divorced men, they bear the brunt of this increased risk, which is why men tend to remarry. Men do best in marriage, and you can fight me in the comments. You men who keep saying, marriage doesn't benefit us. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You can fight me in these comments. Men, there are more benefits to marriage for men than there are for women. Okay? Couples who live together are more likely to divorce, which is why I staunchly oppose living together before you're married. Okay? Do not live together before you're married. Do not let someone test drive your heart. Do not let someone test drive your soul. No, you either want to buy it or you don't. Okay? And the men who continue to compare women to cars, okay, let's talk about the house you buy. You're not going to live in the house before you buy it. That's called renting. Okay? But most of us, we're going to look at a house. We're going to like what we see. We're going to get the little appraisal and we're going to get the report and we're going to buy a house. That's it. That's actually how dating and marriage should go. You don't need to live in the house for 3 months or 6 months and then say, yeah, I want to buy. No. Based on the report, based on the appraisal, based on everything you know about it, you buy it. That's what y'all need to start doing in your dating. But see, a lot of y'all ain't getting the report. You're not getting the appraisal. You're not doing your proper, vetting of the situation. That's why you're so, I don't know. But sex is not vetting. You having sex with a person, that's not vetting that person's character. Okay? That really ain't telling you nothing. So, especially when it comes to marriage. Moving before saved me. I saw her drinking problem and her new gambling problem. Yeah, you gotta move on. Unfortunately. All right. Having friends who are divorced will increase your risk of divorce. So couples who have friends who divorce have a 75% increase in the risk of their own marriage ending. Now, y'all already know what that's about. Y'all already know what that's about. Y'all, you want to run your mouth or you want to listen to your friends run their mouth. And I can't tell you how many, I had some girlfriends that, they got divorced because another girlfriend and, they got divorced. And they are telling them, oh, yeah, girl, well, you need to just leave him. You need to just go on about your business. So just be mindful of that. You have friends who are divorced, you're more likely to get divorced. Okay, so within that whole couple social network, once one goes down, you notice how others start getting more and more shaky. Okay, lack of commitment is the most common reason for divorce. Okay, 75% of individuals and couples cited lack of commitment as the reason for their divorce. This was the most common cause of a marriage ending, exceeding even infidelity. So lack of commitment, what that tells me is one or both parties just no longer want to be there. no longer want to do the work necessary to improve the marriage, like they just have given up. That's what that tells me. All right. 60% of divorced couples cited infidelity as their reason for divorce. So if you don't know this about me, I have a legal document. I have a divorce decree and a legal document that says the legal reason for my divorce. So I can publicly say that because I have a legal document that can prove that that's the truth. Nothing about that is slanderous because I have a legal document. So infidelity was the cause of my divorce. If you know me and what I believe about divorce, so God hates divorce. I believe that. He gives a biblical reason for a man and a woman to divorce, and that is infidelity. If the covenant is broken, if someone has come between you and your husband, you and your wife, your covenant is now broken. You are free to divorce that person, and you're free to remarry someone else. Okay? Me personally, I believe any form of abuse, if you are being abused in your marriage, if you are being chronically abused, I just do not believe that God wants you to stay in that marriage. I don't. The Bible instructs you to separate. It talks about separation. There are other reasons for you to separate from your spouse, but it does not talk about other reasons to divorce other than adultery. Okay, but 60% of divorced couples cited infidelity. Domestic abuse, that's 24% of cases. Okay, basic incompatibility and money issues are among the top reasons for divorce. 58% of couples report arguing and excess conflict. 45% of divorcing couples indicated they married too young. 38% report financial problems. Okay, but the final straw for most is based on infidelity, domestic abuse, and substance abuse. Okay, so when we talk about this statistic, and I'm going to jump to it. Let me find it, because y'all, the red pill loves to keep throwing up this statistic. Y'all just love this statistic. Okay, you just can't get enough of this statistic. Divorce rates by gender. 69% of divorces are initiated by women. Women are far more likely than men to initiate divorce. In fact, nearly 7 in 10 marriage dissolutions are initiated by the female partner, so about 70%. This is based on research involving heterosexual couples. Women often carry more of the mental load in the relationship. True. That is evolutionarily true. They also take on a primary caregiving role for children. The added burden they face, especially when they feel their support system is lacking, could help to explain why they are more likely to initiate divorce. So I'm going to jump forward to my documents, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Okay, so you can understand why women initiate divorce more than men. And remember, in this conversation that we are having, initiating the divorce does not mean I am the reason why the divorce is happening. Okay? That just simply means I've made the decision to end the divorce. Here we go. All right. Three reasons why women initiate divorce. Women are more likely to feel held back by the marriage. Okay? They feel like they have the world on their shoulders. So not only are they out here in the world working, full-time or part-time, it says women make up about half of the workforce in the United States, but they are still primarily responsible for household. They are still primarily responsible for domestic duties. They are still primarily responsible for their children. And so they're doing double duty. Women are doing double duty. They're basically working full-time outside of the home, and they're working full-time inside of the home. Okay? While many men do help out their wives with the chores and caring for the children, it is statistically proven that the traditional views of marriage are well behind the times when it comes to gender experiences and expectations. Even if women don't feel this pressure from their husbands, there's a good chance that they feel it from other people in their lives and society around them. So yes, I just got off the phone with a couple and we talked about roles and responsibilities. And the woman said, yes, I do take on the primary household duties and children duties. Yeah. And so it's a whole lot. And I think women eventually, it just gets to be too much. All right. Number 2, women take on more of the emotional burden. Okay. When it comes to marriage and raising children. This is a side effect of the society we built where men are generally expected to not show any emotion. As a result, they're often not taught how to process their emotions. They're also less likely to seek professional help when needed. In the end, this can put an additional emotional burden on their partner, which is why it's so important that we encourage men to work on their own mental health. One of the things I talked to one of my male clients about earlier today is the importance of teaching his sons soft skills. I said, please make sure that you're teaching your son soft skills. Things like communicating, how to manage conflict, how to express himself. Men really need to learn these skills. So women do tend to take on more of the emotional burden. Number 3, and this is a big one. And this is where a lot of the division comes in, but we have to be willing to talk and listen to each other. Women no longer tolerate consistent, unacceptable behavior. Okay, so because women are now, earners, just like men are. Women are now working outside of the home and they're income earners, just like men are. They're no longer willing to tolerate what they consider to be bad behavior. So they are no longer willing to be mistreated, abused, infidelity, because now they're in a situation where they're better able to earn their own money and get financing for a home or car. So they don't have to tolerate the chronic abuse or bad behavior. They're like, nope, I can always go about my business. I can always buy my own home. I can always get my own car or live on my own with my children. I will not stay with someone who mistreats me or abuses me. Here's what we know evolutionarily. Women are higher in trait neuroticism. That means that they are more sensitive to negative emotion. Okay? So when things are bad, men tend to stay in bad marriages. I mean, we have the top. Let's go here. We have playing out in front of us over the last month, the top example of that, which is Will Smith. Will Smith is in a horrible marriage. A horrible marriage. And how can we explain why won't he leave? Why won't he leave that marriage? And here's the kick in the teeth. If anyone were to leave the marriage, I think it would be Jada. I think Jada would leave the marriage. Jada would file for the divorce. And can I be real? When she announced that, Will and I haven't lived together or been together in 6 years, 7 years, it was Jada that left. I can almost guarantee you Jada left Will and went and lived somewhere else. It was her that left. It was her that had the affair with the young man, not him. Really think about that. That is a perfect example of what a lot of men do. Not all men, but a lot of men. They tolerate past the point of acceptance bad behavior. And if you all could see my DMs, that reel I had go viral last year that talked all about, have sex with your husband, right? That reel. I had thousands of DMs, thousands of views, millions of views, thousands of DMs from men. I haven't had sex in 5 years. I haven't had sex in 8 years. One gentleman said, I have not had sex in 21 years. 21 years. And again, I'm not trying to be funny, but the first question I had was, why do you stay? Why do you stay in this marriage? And all of these men are proving this point right here, that men are lower in trait neuroticism and they can just stick it out. They can be unhappy longer. Like They don't prioritize happiness. They don't prioritize joy. Women tend to prioritize those things. I want to be satisfied. I want to be fulfilled in my marriage. I want to be happy. Men don't seem to do that. They pick a team and they sign with that team and they just stick it out. They say, well, this is the team I'm signed to. Don't matter if the team ain't won a ring in I don't know how many years. Don't matter if the team ain't gone to the Super Bowl or won a championship. They don't care about that. The team could stink. The team could be a losing team. But one thing about men, they are loyal in that way. They will stick it out. They will stay on that losing team and they will just stick it out. I don't understand it, but we seeing it play out right before our eyes. Women create emotional burdens too. They lack accountability, as you have mentioned yourself, in which women stop going to therapy when they are told they need to. Precisely, they do. But again, I guess my question is, why do men tolerate it? Like, I would love a man to explain, why would you tolerate the bad behavior? Why would you stay in a marriage for 20 years where you have not had sex? Or stay in a marriage where you've been spoken to like a child? Or stay in a marriage where you've been emasculated? Like, I really want to understand what doesn't go off in your head that says, I need to get out of this situation. But Will Smith, he's a perfect example of what millions of men do every day. They are in a toxic, unhealthy marriage, and they will not leave. And like I said, this little separation that we just found out, it was Jada that left. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. It was her that left him. It was not him that left her. It was her that had the affair. So I don't know if Will's had an affair or not. I mean, we don't know about it. But like, really think about that. Why would he tolerate this? That's the real question I want men to start asking themselves. If they're going to go out on you, it must be with Rihanna or Janet Jackson or somebody. Okay. Yeah, they need serious counseling. Yeah. So really think about that. But that's how men, to me, are wired. Like, they pick a team, and it doesn't matter if that team is a losing team. They're on it. They're on it for life. This is my team. We ain't been to the Super Bowl. We ain't won a championship. We a losing team. But you know what? I'm on this team. This is my team. I don't understand that. And here's the thing. Women are not built that way. We are not built that way. If we are on a team and that team starts losing consistently, that team ain't made it to the playoffs, it ain't made it to the Super Bowl, we gonna get on another team. Understand that. Okay? And call it whatever you want. I've had lots of men say, women aren't loyal. Okay, call it whatever you want. We're not built for that life. We are very sensitive to negativity and negative emotion. And so I'm going to talk about some ways I believe you can divorce-proof your marriage, okay? One of the things we know for sure is that men, here's what the studies show. It says divorce is harder for men than for women. But let me tell you how. It's not in the way that you think. Because a lot of men think, oh, we get the short end of the stick financially. I'm going to keep it real with y'all, okay? Because that's all I know how to do. The men that get the short end of the stick financially are the men that really ain't got much stick at all. Like, those of y'all that really ain't got nothing and don't have no money and don't, y'all really ain't got nothing. Yeah, y'all get the short end of the stick because you ain't got nothing. And to take half of that, yeah, that's a big deal. But most men, 6-figure, 7-figure earners who get divorced, they're just fine. My ex-husband is working on his 4th marriage. He has divorced 3 wives and he is just fine. Okay. He still owns several multi-million-dollar properties. He is not hurting. Okay. And he has paid all of us. He's not hurting. But here's what y'all are not saying. You're not saying we really didn't have much to split to begin with. And so if you're making 70 or 80,000 and she call herself, yeah, I need alimony or I need the house or I need child support. Yeah, that's going to hurt you because you really don't have anything. You really don't have very much. But if you are a 6-7-figure earner, men tend to fare better. This is what y'all don't want to hear. Men tend to financially fare better than women in the divorce. They really do. And yet we keep hearing this narrative. They're going to take half of, more than half of what you got. And no, women tend to struggle after divorce historically. Okay. It says women's household income fell by an average of 41% following a divorce, while men's household income only fell by 23%. Okay. Here's the second thing. Y'all keep, wanting to fight this statistic. But technically, men are still out earning women. Okay? Men are still out earning women. Men are still making more money than us. Okay? It talks about how women tend to defer to their husbands when it comes to financial planning. So they really don't know much about their money or their financial situation. The second challenge for women after the divorce is, of course, the caring for children. And again, I've heard some men push back and say, well, I want 50-50 custody of my children. And the courts aren't giving me 50-50 custody. Okay, I understand, and I get that. I totally get that. And that's where I kind of come in. I kind of talk to moms and say, hey, I want you to have 50-50 custody. I want you to both share the responsibility of raising your children. And in the end, you'll see that it's better for your children. It's also better for you. So I talk to a lot of, soon to be single moms, and I do try to talk them into some sort of 50-50 custody because it's going to benefit them and it's going to benefit their children. But for them to have primary custody, because see, here's what I'm going to tell you all. I had primary custody of my children 95% of the time my children were with me. 95%. It was all me. Doctor's appointments, PTA, making stuff for school, all of their stuff, their sports, all of their stuff was me. 95%. And that was, quite the burden. And I mean, they're my kids, so I didn't consider it a burden. They're my kids. That's what I'm supposed to do. But 95% of their care was on me. And it wasn't because, I wouldn't let the dad have 50-50 custody. We lived in different states. That wasn't even possible. It wasn't possible for us to have 50-50 custody. We lived in different states. And so I took on the primary responsibility. He took on a bigger financial responsibility, and he saw the children every other weekend or maybe once a month, and that's just what it was. Okay. There were summers where I tried to send them down to him. It would last a few weeks, then they would get sent back. So that's not something he wanted to do. And I was like, okay, they're my children. What do I look like just saying, no, they can't come back here? No, they live here. Just send them back. If you don't want to have them for the summer, just send them back. But I need you to understand, gentlemen, that yes, there are plenty of single moms out here who would happily let their children, of course, have time with their dad or do some sort of 50-50, and the dad doesn't want it. So I need you to understand that if you're a dad and you want to see your kids and you want to spend time with your kids, great. There are also a percentage of men out here who don't want that. That's cramping their style. Okay? They do not want to raise children half of the time. So that's why I need you to open your mind up. And I want you to, take it out of your personal experience. There are other people's experience out here. That's why we have data. That's why we have statistical data, because it's not just your experience. Well, my wife, she cheated on me and she ran off with her lover. And okay, that's not everybody's experience. But I understand and I have compassion for it. I sure do. But that's not everybody's experience. And, my wife wouldn't let me see my kids. My wife wouldn't let me have 50-50, or the court screwed me over. Okay, that's not everybody's experience. I have a couple that got divorced this year. Their final court date, I think, is this month. And the father has 50-50 custody. And the children are little. The children are like babies. And the father has half custody. So that's not everybody. The mother has half and the father has half. So, yes, that's ideal. And remember, if y'all don't know this, and I'm going to share it with you, there's really no reason Why the father shouldn't have half custody? There's only really two reasons why he should not have half custody. Okay, there's only two reasons in my mind. One, if he doesn't want it, if he does not want his kids and does not want to have half custody, then he shouldn't be made to have half custody. Two, there is some sort of abuse or neglect, or he has a drug problem, he has a drinking problem. Something about the children being with him is a possible liability to the children. Like, other than that, he should have half custody of his kids. And he could be a crappy husband, but hopefully he'd be a better father. So even if he didn't treat you well, he could be a better father. But if he's a liability to his children, a safety liability, an emotional liability, no. Of course, I say no, because now he's continuing whatever toxic thing he was doing, and now it's just pouring down to the kids. If he has something going on, if he's addicted, if he's got some major problems, if he's doing something he shouldn't be doing or whatever, no. He needs to get his life together, and then he can have, more time with his kids or whatever, because he's a liability. But really, those are the only two reasons. If he's a halfway decent guy, if he works hard, if he has help from his family, and he's like, yeah, I want to be able to see my kids half the time. He should have his kids half the time. He should. That's what I believe. He said, if they are unhappy, they will leave. That is some women. But like I said, I do believe you can divorce-proof your marriage. It's just, do you want to? And a lot of people are lazy. Even in my practice, with all the couples that I see, premarital that's the lowest percentage of couples. I want to say premarital out of 100%. Okay, there we go. I don't know what's going on with my internet, y'all. Out of all the couples that I see, I want to say about 12 to 14% of them are premarital, maybe 12%. So most couples are not premarital couples. They're couples that have been together for a while, they've been married for a while, and now they're on the other side having all these problems. And the first thing I ask them is, did you have premarital counseling? Did you talk to a pastor? Did you talk to a accountant? No. So that's my own research. 12%. 12% of couples that I'm familiar with are having premarital counseling. That's a whole lot of couples that are not. When women marry up, men are... Okay, he says, shouldn't we earn more given the jobs that we are willing to do? Oh, for sure. I have no problem with men earning more. I'm all for it. Shoot, I support it. Every aspect of development is worse when it's single moms alone. Nothing should separate a man from his children. Again, if he fits the criteria, if he wants to do it, and if he's not a liability to his children, sure, I agree. He should, of course, have some sort of 50-50 custody. And the statistics have shown that is what's in the best interest of the children, that the parents live no more than 30 miles from each other, 20 to 30 miles, and they do split the custody 50-50. The children go to him half the time, her half the time. They're still getting the benefits of having both parents in their life. And don't get me wrong, it can be a strain. It can be a strain, especially trying to figure out what the scheduling is like and all of that. However, that's what they tell us, is that, children need a mother and a father. And so it's really important that you learn how to co-parent. Here's an interesting divorce statistic. So the divorce rate for white couples is 15.1%. The marriage rate amongst these couples is 32.1%. The divorce rate for black couples is 30.8%. And the marriage rate is 17.3%. What has happened to us? What has happened to us? Yeah, it don't make no sense. It does not make any sense where we are. That's a problem. The more education you have, the less likely you are to get a divorce. Interesting. Okay. But it did show that college-educated women, it actually says they're more likely to have a lasting marriage. But I have seen some statistics that say the opposite, that college-educated women are more likely to get divorced. Okay, but it says 78% of women with a bachelor's degree have a marriage that has lasted at least 20 years. That's actually good. The religion with the lowest divorce population is Hindu. 60% of the Hindu population is married. Just 5% of its members of this demographic group are divorced. The religion with the highest divorce population is evangelical Protestants. 55% of this population is married and 14% are divorced. Wow. Okay. It definitely talks about, divorce is bad for children. We know that. Divorce is not good for children. So we really want to make sure that we do our work to manage our marriage well. And one of the things that I often tell my premarital couples is the best gift that you give to your children is a healthy, happy marriage. That is the gift. So you really want to work on the marriage, not just for you, but for your children. The most expensive divorce in U.S. history was the end of the marriage of Bill and Melinda Gates, which involved an estimated $76 billion in property. Jeff Bezos and Mackenzie Scott had the second most expensive settlement at a modest $38.3 billion. Okay. 15% of married couples report signing a prenup. Now, if you don't know this, I support the prenuptial agreement. And I actually believe that almost everybody should have one. You need to have a prenuptial agreement. And I think it's the thing that could, and men still push back, y'all still push back. Oh, it doesn't mean anything. It's not worth the paper it's written on. No, marriage is bad. Marriage is wrong. Okay. But get a prenup. Get a prenuptial agreement. Do everything within your power to make it airtight. Like, get a prenup. And, take the risk. Life and love is risk. You risk your life every day getting in a car, flying on a plane, and doing all the other things you're doing. And so, get a prenup. But it says only 15% of married couples report signing a prenup. Just 42% of adults support the use of premarital contracts. And in 2010, just 3% of all married couples entered into a prenuptial agreement. Wow. Okay, so men have always been more likely to remarry than women. 64% of men, 52% of women will remarry. Divorce is harder on men, but that harder is actually emotionally. Divorce is emotionally harder on men. And here's why. Number one, men avoid the grieving process. I have seen this play out more times than I care to see. In my history of being a therapist, and that's been 9 years, so 9 years I've been a therapist, I've seen more grown men cry than I care to tell you. And it is a sad sight. Like, it is a very sad sight to see a grown man just utterly and completely break down. It is very hard. And men tend to avoid the grieving process. I don't know why, but they are very avoidant. They don't want to feel their feelings. And so, number two, men move on too fast, okay? They don't take the time to grieve the loss of their marriage. They immediately get back out there and get into a new relationship and use dating after divorce as a way of escaping the pain instead of giving themselves time to heal. So men tend to take longer to heal. Men definitely become bitter. They become jaded. But it's because they're not walking themselves through a healthy grieving process. Men have got to learn how to grieve properly. That is their biggest Achilles heel, in my opinion. They do not grieve and mourn the loss of things, whether it's a job, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a marriage, whether it's their children. They do not grieve and mourn. And so their physical health declines after divorce. Men are twice as likely. They are twice as likely to experience post-divorce depression. Okay. Here are some tips to the men. If you are divorced, you have to allow yourself time to grieve. I want you to regain your sense of identity. I want you to avoid jumping into a new relationship immediately. One of the jokes I have in my practice is when couples separate, I always give the husband and the wife the same advice. And it is this: Do not date or get into another relationship for 12 months. 12 months. I tell the man that, I tell the woman that. And guess what? 95% of people that I tell that to do not follow my advice. Men and women. They get out there, they get into another relationship 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 7 months, 9 months after the breakup or after the separation or after the divorce. And within a year, they're right back in my office because guess what? Didn't work out. Now they're feeling the pain of that relationship and now they're triggered the pain from their divorce. 12 months. Grieve, mourn. Okay? Work on your relationship with your children. That's what I want to see men do. Work on the relationship with your children. Stop going out running in the streets. Work on your relationship with your children. Be a good co-parent. And that's both of you. Be a good co-parent to each other. Learn how to properly co-parent. Okay? And then, of course, consider therapy. That's what I want men to do most definitely. Consider therapy. Consider working with a male therapist. If you're not comfortable with the female therapist, consider working with a male therapist. Okay? Okay, so life after divorce is more traumatic for men than it is for women. It takes a more significant emotional toll, as well as sparking physical deterioration. So women are filing for divorce, they're initiating divorce, and the statistics even show us that women don't have regrets about it. Most women do not regret getting a divorce. Most men who initiate do. A lot of men do initiate. If they initiate a divorce, about 60% of them regret it. But most women don't. And women do fare better after a divorce emotionally than men do. Okay? So the fact that men don't get to see their children as often as they once did, that takes a toll. I just spoke with a client this morning about he went through a trauma. When he went through his divorce and he was, wasn't able to see his sons, that was traumatic. That was a traumatic event that he never really processed. And so we're starting to process that, okay? But women, historically, they put work into being able to cope with their grief. They talk to their friends. They talk to their girlfriends. They talk to their mama, their auntie, their grandmother. They talk it out. They cry it out. They eat it out. Whatever they do, right? They process their grief and loss. They mourn. Men don't do that, okay? Women have more community than men do, all right? Their men's health declines. We touched on that. Their health is declining. And so, men y'all don't go to the doctor. Y'all don't go to the doctor like talking about. You don't go to the dentist like talking about. Men may have higher financial obligations, of course, right? They have child support. They may have alimony. And their new relationships, these rebound relationships they get in, they only patch the heartbreak. They really don't help men to heal. And so, gentlemen, you gotta do the work. You gotta do the work. Parents need to know 1 time a child, 2 times a child. Your children will be your parents if you live long enough. True. Thank you. This is good conversation. I have my kids now, won all my cases so far. Oh, great. All right. Kids can decide after age 12 what parent they want to live with. They can. They sure can. Okay. If you truly love your children, you need to regulate the emotional temperature of your relationship so you can develop a parental coalition. I agree. Please try to do what's in the best interest of the children. I agree with the prenup. I'm definitely getting one for my next marriage. Yes, that's what I want to hear. So let's talk a little bit briefly, because I'm getting ready to jump off. I got to jump into some paperwork tonight. Let's talk a little bit about how to divorce-proof your marriage. I believe this is true. And I've talked to many men who say, no, there's no such thing. There's no such thing. These women wake up one day and they no longer want to be married. I disagree with that. And I think it's a very disempowering way to live. So when a man talks to me like that, it's such a turnoff because I'm like, you're a victim. That's what you're telling me. You're a victim. You're going to always be a victim and you want to be a victim. It's a very disempowering way to talk. Oh, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I could have done to save my marriage. I disagree with that. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of those things. But yes to the prenup. Thank you so much to the prenup. We need to consider the prenup. What's the work a man for? Okay, I think that what's the work for men? Those things that I just discussed, which is please grieve. You must grieve and mourn the loss, of the marriage, of the future, of, the two-parent home for your children. You have to grieve and mourn that loss. And a lot of men don't. Y'all jump into new relationships and, it's rebounding. You rebound. Men are notorious for rebounding. Women are notorious for rebounding too. But you all reach for someone else and it distracts you for a little while. And eventually that pain comes back up and either that person can handle it or they can't. And it's like the relationship doesn't work out. And then you're right back to where you started. Do the work. Sit down. Be by yourself. Abstain. Don't sleep with nobody. And figure yourself out. Get help. Go to therapy if you need to. Read a book, listen to a podcast, watch a YouTube video, whatever you decide. But do that work. Do that work. So how do you divorce proof your marriage? Here are some suggestions that I'm going to give you. Number 1, choose well. It sounds so simple, and yet it is one of the most important pieces of divorce proofing your marriage. Choose well. Choose a person who's a good fit for you. And don't choose based on how sexy they are. Don't choose based on money. Don't choose based on height. Don't choose based on breast size, booty size, or any of that. Don't choose breast on how easy she is or how good the sex is or how good. Don't choose based on any of those things. Those are not things to build a marriage on. Now, if you want to have fun, if you want to have a good time in the bedroom, have at it. But we're talking about, what should be the rest of your life. Those are stupid things for you to choose your marriage partner on. Do not choose on those things. Choose based on compatibility. Choose based on connection. Choose based on commitment. You must determine the person's level of commitment. Is there a connection? And not I can't go to Cheesecake Factory because that's a chain restaurant. You're not interested in a connection. You're interested in what I can do for you and what experience I can provide. That's not a connection. Okay? A connection is meeting a man for lunch and having such a wonderful lunch that we then walk to the local museum. We walk around there and talk. Then by that time it's dinner and we go out to dinner somewhere. And then when we're done there, we go to the ice cream shop and sit outside till 12 midnight. So we literally spent 12 hours on a date. That's called connection. Okay? And let's add, when you leave at 12 midnight, you call each other on the phone and you talking on the drive home. That's called connection. A lot of you have never experienced that in your life. And it saddens me deeply that you have never met a person and had an initial connection. You had a connection with that person. Something about you and them just clicked. That's called connection. Okay? That is not easily broken. But yes, there should be a connection. Not a sexual connection, because nowhere in that 12 hours does sex even occur. An emotional connection, a spiritual connection, a mental connection. Okay? Commitment, compatibility, healthy communication, healthy conflict resolution. These are the things that you're using to determine if a person is a good fit. Okay? And we're talking long term. If you're looking for your flesh to be gratified, then you can base it on whatever you want. If it's one night or 1 week or 1 month, who cares? But if you're talking about marrying, you have to base it on something real. Okay? Base it on something real. But this dumbness that y'all out here talking about, these are the places you can't take me. I can't go on a coffee date. What the hell? Is this about the person sitting across from you, or is it what? That's right there. Right there. And it is beyond sad for people like me who 12 times out of my life, 12 times in all of my years, I have had a connection with a person. I have met that person and just was like, yep, I'm going to know them. I'm going to be with them. They're going to be something to me. Right? I've had a connection. And that is sorely missing today. People are not connected. It's not a soul meeting another soul. That's the problem. And guess what? That soul meeting another soul, that can happen anywhere. That can happen anywhere, anytime. That can happen at the park. I've met a man at the dog park and was like, ooh, yeah, we standing in the middle of the dog park and just talking and talking. I'm thinking, okay, it's getting dark. I got to leave. I got to go home. And then we talking on the phone. Like, that's a connection. That has nothing to do with where we are, what we're doing, what we're eating, what we're dressed like. That's called connection. That's what real relationships are based on. So not the gram, not posting on Facebook or Snapchat or Twitter or any other places. It's between you and another person. That's it. That's the only people who know about it. When I had that 12-hour date, that didn't get posted. People know about it now because I'm telling you. My girlfriend knew about it because I told her. That didn't get posted on the gram. That was between me and that other person. But y'all don't know about that. There must be connection. Okay? And it must be real. It must be a soul recognizing another soul. That's what's missing. But see, y'all so busy trying to make it look like something it ain't. You're not thinking about that. You're not thinking about the connection. Okay, so that's the first thing. Get your ducks in a row. Make sure you're choosing a person based on something that's real. All right? Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to vet that person. And you're going to let other people vet that person. So it's not just you asking questions and kikiing and getting to know them and, really? Mm-hmm. And this what I suggest you do. I definitely tell my women to do this. You go on a date, you jot some notes down. You jot some notes down when you get home. Jot some things down that stood out to you. And just leave it. Just jot it down and leave it. I usually have a journal. I jot it in there and I just leave it. Next time I go out or talk on the phone, I jot it in there. I just leave it. And then look, after about a couple of weeks, y'all, I go back through it and be like, oh, yeah, okay, I remember that. Oh, yeah, he did say that. Oh, I remember. See, I refresh my mind. That way I'm not getting swept up. I'm not getting swept up in the beautiful teeth and the beautiful smile and the cologne and, the firmness of his arm. That stuff will sweep me away. So I got to write stuff down because, see, that other stuff will sweep me away. And his hair and all that stuff I like, his hands, all that stuff I like. See, if I'm not careful, I'll get swept away. But I go back to them notes. I go back to that book. Okay, was anything said in here that's like, that's probably not going to work for me. Right? Go back to that. Go to your list. Remember, you're supposed to be making your 3 lists. What I want, what I don't want, what I need. You're going to refer to that list. But you're going to vet this person and you're going to let other people vet them. You're going to let other people vet them too. So guess what? You ain't waiting 6 months for them to meet your family. You ain't waiting 9 months, for them to meet your kids. And I'm not talking about little kids. I'm talking about if you got older kids like me. I don't wait. I take them around everybody I know. I take them around my friends. I take them around my family. Let other eyes get on him. They going to tell me what they think. They going to tell me their first impression. Let people vet this person. And if anybody come back with a negative report or a report, okay, again, it's a yellow flag. Oh, okay. Why you say that? Okay. It's a yellow flag. Just again, jot you some notes down. Keep it up here. Okay. But vet, you all are not vetting these people. You just, she looked good, or he smells good, or he got this, or she got, no, you're not vetting these people well. That's a big problem. who you're choosing is not a good fit for you. And y'all are choosing based on, I guess, what you want and what you like over what you need. So you got to start putting in what you need, not just what you want and what you like. Okay, but that's the first step. Choose well. Choose well. What y'all fail to realize is these people that are in these certain marriages, these good marriages or these marriages that, they seem happy. They seem, they long lasting and seem happy. And the people seem like they like each other. They made a good choice. They made a good choice. And we don't give enough credit to people for that. These people made a good choice. And y'all need to start making good choices. So that's the first part. Then the second part is you're going to do well. When you get in the relationship, when you get in the marriage, time, energy, and effort. You will consistently put time, energy, and effort in your marriage. If you are a man, you will remain masculine. You will do all the things that masculine men do, especially to attract women, especially to maintain sexual polarity, which is you're not going to give in or say yes all the time. No, you're going to have a backbone. You're going to stay connected to your heart and you're going to have balls. But stay masculine. Okay. If you're a woman, you're going to stay in the feminine lane. You're going to keep that polarity going. You're going to be the girl. All right. But you're going to act like you got sense. You're not going to talk to your man crazy. You're not going to be disrespectful. You're not going to run around telling your girlfriends every 5 minutes what's going on in your relationship. Stop doing that. You're going to talk to your man. And if that don't work, you're going to get a professional third party to sit and talk with the both of you. But stop telling your mama and them and your girlfriends and everybody else about your relationship. You're going to talk to your man. That's who should know about the problems in your relationship. That's it. That's it. Okay? So choose well. Do well. You have the prenup available to you. And you know what? I'm all for it. I'm all for the prenup. I love it for a man to say, hey, Anita, I love you. I want us to spend the rest of our life together. I want us to do X, Y, and Z. What do you think about this prenup? Where is it? Where do I sign? What I got to do? I don't have a problem with the prenup. Because again, that's how much confidence I have in me and who I am. I don't have a problem with the prenup. I'm not going to cheat on you. That surely ain't going to happen. Because remember, cheating, in my opinion, it don't have nothing to do with you. It don't have nothing to do with how you treat me. It has to do with my integrity. I'm not cheating because that's just not who I am. I'm not a cheater. And I don't want to be a cheater and want to be called a cheater. So that ain't never going to happen. I'm not cheating on you. And unless we put something in there about you cheating on me or you mistreating me, I'm not going to mistreat you. I'm not going to sexually starve you because I have needs of my own. Like none of that's going to happen. I'm not going to run up a bunch of bills or do anything crazy. I'm really not. I'm pretty much, this is what you see is what you get. Okay. I'm going to do my best to pull my weight and do my part. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to pray to God that you do the same. That's it. That's it. But yeah, you do have to put time, energy, and effort. You do have to be willing to see what is your part in the relationship, not going well. And we're so quick to point the finger, but you have to be willing to look at yourself and put in that time, energy, and effort. Okay? That's it. You can divorce-proof your marriage, but you both have to be on the same page about that. And of course, the biggest one of all is Christ. You have to let God be in your 3-person circle. You have to be willing to do your marriage God's way. And you both have to agree to do that. If God says, hey, the marriage bed is undefiled, y'all both have to be like, okay, the marriage bed is undefiled. Do not, render your due. If that's what the Bible's saying, y'all both believe that, render your due. Okay? Like, do what the Bible tell you to do. And if both of y'all believe in the Bible, you just do it. Like, that's it. Right? The man is to love the woman like he loves his own body. Okay? The woman is to respect the man. That's it. It's not hard. We're making it more difficult than it is, and it's not. Okay? If you believe in God, if you believe in the Bible, then do what it tells you to do. Be equally yoked And both of y'all return to that over and over. We're disagreeing, return to the Bible. What does it say? What is the wife's duty? What's the husband's duty? Do that. That's it. It's not hard. All right. I have been going for a little over an hour. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'm going to get ready to wind down because I have a truckload of paperwork to do, and it's 9:21. So I'm going to be up for a little while doing some paperwork because I think it's got to get done tonight. If you have any questions, though, feel free to ask. All right, but I wanted to talk a little bit about this because I had a gentleman, and he left a comment about one of the videos I posted, and he said, "Oh, this is pandering and blah blah blah." Bruh, don't bring that over here. Don't bring that over here. Don't do that. Like I said, I follow statistics. I look at data. Okay, I look at facts. Okay, it's not based on how I feel. I don't wake up and feel like posting. No, it's based on data. It's based on science. Like that's just who I am. That's how I do things. And just because it wasn't your experience does not mean that the science is wrong. It's just your experience. That's it. Thank you. It's just your experience. Your wife cheated on you. But guess what? There's a large percentage of men that cheated on their wives. So for you to say, yeah, my wife cheated on me, my divorce blindsided me and this and that. Okay, that was your experience. But I got a whole lot of women on the other side that will say, my husband cheated on me. My husband left me for his mistress. My husband chronically cheated on me. My husband had a baby outside of our marriage. Like everyone's story to some extent is different. But what I do go by is the numbers. I go by the statistics. I go by, the facts. And sorry to tell you, I know a lot of y'all are believing this red pill rhetoric. And guess what? Just like I looked up all of this, see all of this, 22 pages, you can do the same. You do not have to listen to some manosphere podcast. You can look up these numbers yourself and you can find out that them saying, 70 to 80% of women file for divorce for no reason at all. That's a lie. That's a lie. You just heard me tell you what the top reasons for divorce are. And most of it is not, I just don't want you no more. I just don't want you no more. I'm just unhappy and I don't want you no more. Yes, that is a percentage of women. That is a percentage of divorces. But the numbers say it's not 80% of women. It's not. And what y'all are leaving out is women initiate divorce for a plethora of reasons. And you all keep thinking, because she pulled the trigger, because she wanted the divorce, she's the reason why the marriage is ending. No. She's just decided she's not going to stay in an unhealthy marriage. That's all. I'm not going to stay in a toxic, unhealthy marriage. And do I believe that the goal is happy all the time? Absolutely not, because I'm a grown-up. There are plenty of times in my life where I am unhappy, okay? Happy is not the goal, okay? Happy is not the goal. I'm looking for long-term marital satisfaction. I'm looking, I'm married to the man because I'm trying to bring glory to God, to be honest with you. That's why I'm married to the man, because I'm trying to bring glory to God. So the goal is not my happiness every hour of every day. However, I will not stay in a toxic situation. I will not stay in an abusive situation. And you're not thinking clearly if you're telling me that a person should stay in a toxic, abusive marriage. No, I don't believe that. So yeah, I give you permission to get a divorce if your partner is toxic and abusive, if you are being chronically abused in your marriage, emotionally, physically, mentally, verbally, financially, spiritually abused, yeah, you need to separate yourself from that person. And that's if you're a man or a woman. Do not stay in a marriage where you are chronically abused. That makes no sense. Okay? Yes, holy is the goal. How do we find peace in it all? You have to process the trauma. You have to be willing to process the trauma. You have to process your feelings. Okay? You will never find an emotionally healthy person in a bad relationship. Ooh, I could challenge that, but I don't have time. I could challenge that because even emotionally healthy people, like I said, we have chosen people that weren't a good fit for us. I've chosen a person who wasn't a good fit for us, fit for me, and I consider myself to be emotionally healthy. We're imperfect. We're emotionally healthy, but we're also imperfect. And so we could say, this person, there's a connection here. I think I can work with the connection. And then we get in it and we find out, ooh, yeah, this trauma, our traumas don't match, or this person's trauma is just a way too much, or this person doesn't want to work on it. They don't want to work on their wounds. They don't want to work on their issues. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to jump right out of this. So what I think emotionally healthy people do is even if they don't, choose the right person, they're quick to jump out of it. Like they don't keep going in. They don't go in deeper. They see it for what it is, and then they extricate themselves. There we go. I don't know what's going on with my internet. My phone is connected to the internet, y'all, and it keeps going in and out. But thank you so much for joining the live. If you're watching the replay, please give me your thoughts in the comments. And this was a long one, so I don't know if you're going to be watching all the way through. If you're watching this on YouTube, please consider subscribing to the channel and please give it a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts and comments about this. Okay, men and women. But fellas, and I'm specifically speaking to the fellas because that's who I get a lot of in my DM. Find out for yourself what the statistical information is. Don't just take someone's word. Heck, don't just take my word. I'm telling you to go online and find out what the divorce data is. And you may be surprised that these men are out here telling you, yeah, women are out here filing for divorce and they're sleeping around and cheating on you and this and that, and you're giving them half your money. No, that's really not what the numbers show. That's people who, are in the lower socioeconomic class. Yeah, it's hitting you hard because you ain't had much to give. But men who, are making six figures, upper six figures, or, $200,000, $300,000, okay, they're going to pay child support, they may pay alimony, but they're not homeless. They're not moving in with their mother. They're going to be okay. They're going to, stay in their home or get a new home. I have a friend who got divorced and I don't consider him a six-figure earner, and he stayed in the family home and his wife moved into another home and they split pretty much the custody of their children 50-50. So again, he's not out in the street. He's not living with his parents. He stayed in his home. And again, he didn't lose his shirt. Y'all keep saying that, but a lot of it's because you don't have anything. You don't have much to lose. So I guess taking half of that is a big deal, but that's just what it is. But look up the numbers for yourself. Stop taking what the manosphere is feeding you, spoon feeding you. Do the research for yourself. Be a critical thinker and be willing to be open to, okay, could there be another side to this? Is there something else? Is there more to the story? Don't just let everybody spoon feed you what they want to spoon feed you. Okay? Doesn't pressing it have to do with understanding all your trauma? You just, like I said, I want you to get professional help. I want you to get professional help if you need to. That'll be so helpful for you. All right. Have a great night, you all. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here on the platform. And as always, stay open to love.